combination with the Elise, and I don't think they're going to make the same mistake again.
Yeah, Afreeca on red side looked good in their draft for game 1. See if they can channel a bit of that here once again. Similar bans so far. Exact same bans so far.
Maybe Tom Kench will come out. It was taken in the first rotation from Afreeca, and I doubt that SKT will prioritize it highly enough for it to be taken away first pick.
Saying something that Faker is something
again.
Better than her boyfriend that went to the army. I didn't catch the entirety of that.
You do not put that on. What?
That went on TV, young lady. So, well, now the whole world knows. I don't know exactly what she was saying, but
we don't know what kind of
caught that
relationship
part.
she's in. Let's not draw judgment there.
Galio ban this time from SKT. They don't want to have Faker playing the Galio.
And hopefully just match it with the Zac. Oh, no.
Oh, the Caitlyn ban.
Zac remains. Blank can play Zac. He's no mighty bear.
The Korean commentators immediately, they're like, oh, a huge mistake. And can anyone really argue? I think Blank can definitely play Zac.
They did defeat Zac. So I think what they're saying is, we understand the value of Zac, but we need to ensure that we get the winning combination that we had before, which was Elise Tam Kench. So they must have been afraid of an Elise or TK being taken right from the get-go, and their composition that worked game 1 would have been separated. Here I expect SKT to take away that Jarvan. You know Afreeca will have no hesitation in locking it away in that final pick of the first rotation.
Lulu now, once again.
No, not going to be.
No.
No way.
No. That would be so Faker to just bring out Lux into game 3 against Afreeca, but not going to happen. At least,
Wolf does not look too chipper. Just give me Jarvan. Just take the Jarvan, SKT. Jarvan's the contested pick here.
Okay.
Xayah instead. She does have a 100% win rate in this series so far.
It's a good start.
And when you have Zac, the team fighting god, combo it with the Feather Storm, where you can continuously root people on top of the Kidnap, your team fighting prowess goes through the roof, and they will match with what appears to be the Kalista. So lots of team fighting and even more skirmish early on from both these teams.
Foregoing those two very popular AD carries, we haven't seen a single Ashe in the series.
I think that teams have caught on to the vulnerability of Zac, which there are few, but one of them is that if he does not get in range of you, then you can't do anything. If you miss your slingshot, which so many Galio or Zacs do, and you're not in range of hitting that Q and your flash ultimate isn't quite there, Kalista, an AD that can bounce around, dodge a few of your abilities, is one of the best picks against her. She builds a blade, she can kite you well, and stack endless amounts of spears in you that we would hope to see the spears go for a Pierce Ren transfer and then kill somebody else as a result, but that's never happened, and it's just a dream. You dream things like that when you play League so much.
Definitely have. And yeah, I think that's a really good point. I definitely am getting the feeling that Afreeca is prepared for this Zac pick. I don't think it's just going to be Zac raffle stomping the entire Rift.
But remember the last Zac they played again, it was Mighty Bear. And that was probably the worst Zac I've seen in a while. I don't want to throw him under the bus, but he rolled over and he rolled down there himself. Kennen will be that last ban, so Jarvan just makes so much sense here, and finally Marin will take it away.
I would just like leave the Kennen open in hopes that Marin plays his AP Kennen.
Well, then you face the risk that they lock in a mid laner right away. You take Jarvan, you get a Kennen as a response, and if the Kennen, let's say that Marin decides to build properly and gets out of control, you are in a heap and helping of trouble.
Okay, another Camille, this time for Ntara. So SKT liking the Camille pick on blue side this series.
So that clearly points to Camille and the picks not being the reason for the substitution of Puni. It had to have been the play, the communication, just not feeling it, and almost a complete draft. Whoa, Kuro's going to take Arya? I highly doubt it. It's going to be the Victor instead. Wave clear for days.
Yeah, you can just chill mid against that Orianna. We've seen solo kills before, but probably unlikely. As you were saying, probably just going to sit there, farm it up. Got a nice bit of wave clear. It's going to be a lot harder to see Afreeca now.
I like this draft a lot from Afreeca. This time around, they have enough physical damage, enough CC, engage tools, the ability to collapse from just insane ranges with Abyssal Voyage and the distance that both Elise with mobility boots and the flag and drag from Jarvan. But then you have SKT, Zac and Orianna, the ultimate ball delivery combo. It's so nasty, you don't even need to combo all the abilities together. Kidnap plus Shockwave will surely be more than enough to kill everybody on the team. So the team fighting from SKT has to be on point. And they have struggled with the mechanics in Game 1 and Game 2. So putting all the emphasis on mechanics on Game 3 is a huge surge of confidence that the coaches are giving to the players.
Yeah, but if they can line it up even just once, definitely would mean a huge win for SKT in that team fight at least. Blank, he gets Zac. He was looking really strong on his Lee Sin mechanics. I'm sure he himself is very confident on his Zac mechanics. We get to see Untara's Camille as well in the top lane. And this time we got Kuro on that Victor. He played it before. I think he did win that game. And Tushin on that Tom Kench. Really excited to see him playing that as well. Him and Spirit had a lot of teamwork in game number 1 on the red side. So here we go, guys. Game 3 of SKT versus the Afreeca Freecs. Let's do it. The cheers are 100% female. I did not hear one guy.
This is such a change from the NALCS.
Oh yes, it's nice.
It's a welcome change.
The cheers have been just getting louder and louder.
Well, the games have been fire, so understandably so. More people showing up. They're hearing their friends tell them, "You gotta come check this out. You're not gonna believe it." Afreeca took them down in Game 1. SKT blank 2 games in a row. Now they have Zac. Who wouldn't want to watch? If you love League of Legends, you're watching.
There's like a couple of people out there that love League of Legends and they're not watching. Those poor guys.
Oh, you'll watch the VODs.
Definitely a series to remember we're having tonight.
As many of SKT's series are.
Mm-hmm. I know some people are disappointed that Peanut lost his undefeated Lee Sin streak, but to be honest, his Lee Sin didn't look too impressive in that game.
Just same start, 3 games in a row. Raptors into mirroring each other. He's going to dodge away from the final Raptor, and instead the duo lane from SKT will be leashing that red buff, and just makes me so happy to see a bot lane help out your jungler this much, especially when it's Zac out of all picks. One that requires those early levels. If you get him ahead, he will help you back. He'll gank your lane. That's all his job is, just gank, and team fight. So if you ensure that he's in a position where he can feel safe invading or not having to worry about face checking and Elise, then the Zac gets to farm and gets to really abuse the late game power and mid game ganks that is this tanky blob.
Tanky blob deciding not to go for an invade even after the big leash onto red.
Oh, no, you're not going to invade a Zac.
Yeah.
Not at this level.
And the timing is actually very similar in terms of when both the junglers do get to the opposite side of their own jungle.
The timings where shoving top lane on Untara wards the Krugs and make sure that the blast cone is no longer there, preventing Spirit from having another route to gank the top set. And in the meantime, Kramer, we saw him mirror the same thing, pushes out the bottom lane, and while he can't proc the blast cone over the Dragon Pit, he can ward for it. So he places a ward in front of the pit, and now Untar is completely protected with 2 wards into the top side, but Spirit does get pinged out. The intuition from both these teams have been on point in figuring out where the junglers start, where they finish, and where they will go next.
They can exactly ping him. After he clears out one of those wards. And just invading a little bit, getting some deep vision. Gonna put down 1 ward here. You can see the bottom lane of SKT does respond by backing off and laying down some defensive wards of their own.
Now, as soon as he goes into the jungle, you have to respect him ganking from behind, using the blast cone to get over to Krugs, or even repelling, and it's apparent with the vision that they've placed. A green ward in the try, and then another one over the wall to make sure that if Elise takes a route that does not get scouted out by the tri-rush ward, that she will still be found and buys enough time for SKT to retreat. So both teams playing well with their vision in respect to the jungle ganks. And this will only benefit SKT as their late game fighting with Zac and Orianna is something that always is a threat.
Tushin getting locked up here by Zion, the bot lane. Don't want to be taking too much damage, getting too low against that kind of lane. Because they definitely can have some pressure against the Tahm Kench early on.
And it's cool to see how, even though now Blank will get spotted out, they had no idea where he was before because the wards did not scout somebody coming through the lane into the doubles. And as such, now they still have no idea where he is. Pings can simply be speculative as they know or have an idea that he's in the blue side, but where he's warding or what he's doing is completely unknown to Afreeca. All they know is that there are no camps for him to take, so pings go on to vision, and that's about it.
Yeah, look at the positioning of Kuro too because of that. Backs all the way up. Doesn't want to pressure against Faker underneath turret.
Kramer shoots out a sentinel into his side of the jungle, try to get as much information on Blank.
Comes Spirit, gonna use that blasting plant. Try to get over here. Doesn't scout Blank at the Wolves. Is making his way up into the top lane. Will they try to go for this? Martin is extremely low on mana. Looks like Spirit will just recall.
Low chance of a dive succeeding here. Camille can outplay you with her stun, so going for a dive without the flag and drag from Jarvan would be risky to say the least.
Another Dark Seal for Spirit on the Elise.
Into Mobies as well.
It's almost like we've seen this before, Crumbs.
3 times exactly. 3rd time's a charm, perhaps.
Well, the first time was the charm for them. We'll see if they can make it to tonight. Well, we'll definitely have a lot of map presence with that kind of build with the Moby boots. Trying to match the Zac ganks.
It does unfortunately slow him down in the clear. Normally you'd want to have either your Tracker's Knife to start warding out, try to account for Zac, but Zac is difficult to find as his range of engage is nearly impossible to completely label. And this is where we might see the first rotation from the bottom lane. A lot of times teams like to swap out at 10 minutes, try to get a tier 1 advantage, but it'll only be Tucson, and he does get scouted out, so how is SKT going to react to this? Going for vision in the deep blue side would be my first guess. And Zac and Lulu are now pairing up, looking for something good.
Tucson coming on in, Blank trying to clear the Scuttle Crab. Wolf has been sitting in this brush for so long. There's the Polymorph onto this level 6. Forced to flash the Shockwave is Kuro. Will not have that flash for a long time.
Great patience there from Wolf, and what he does is simply a sacrifice because he has eyes on Tucson. He knows that Tucson,
Ooh, okay. Gonna force out the Ghost this time. So they get both of the summoners from Kuro.
And now Blank is in a great position to revisit this lane. Has flash, is level 6. Kuro is just a sitting duck. But we were saying how Wolf stays in that brush. Well, he does see that Tucson is also roaming, not getting any experience. And while he could have been in lane, trying to get himself ahead, decides, you know what, I'm just a supportive guy. I'm going to make sure that I can get my carries ahead in exchange for my own experience. As opposed to me getting ahead, I'll stay even and give some of the advantage over to Faker.
Ooh, Blank is going to get that smite, wins the battle against Spirit, takes the blue buff. Marn comes in, spots the blue, but Blank turning up big. Just a small advantage for his team. which is pretty nice. Taking that blue away from the Victor.
And now when Orianna gets her own blue buff, Kuro won't have his to match, so he's going to lose pressure in that lane, and that pressure can result in him getting dove. He didn't find the window there because he came from the blue side. It was too obvious, and Kuro respected, played left side.
Ooh, okay. Cataclysm forces the flash out of Untara in the top lane.
Look at the pressure they have on mid lane, just insane.
Uh-oh, Faker here. He does pop his Ghost immediately and still does have the flash, but the Cocoon comes in. Lots of burst damage coming down onto Faker, but he will get away after using both of his summoners.
And a great gank from Spirit. Trade summoners, and now Kuro, who was unable to play up, now is dealing with an Orianna who also doesn't have summoners. So at least with her own flash is in a great position to also gank this lane, and now both mid laners are going to have to account for the junglers more than anything else in this lane.
You could see Blank just hanging around. There is a ping right on top of him, but that pressure is always there until Kuro does get his summoners back. And still no first blood. 9.5 minutes into the game, and very, very even in terms of the CS score. The gold is exactly even.
As you say that 100 off.
Yeah. Now it's not exactly even. It was for just a moment.
No math.
No math on the stream. It's banned.
Well, the tension is high for this matchup. There's Abyssal Voyage.
Oh, okay. They're coming on in here. It is Tushin and Spirit. They do land that Cocoon onto Wolf. There is the heal. He will back off. Spirit does get eaten up by the Tahm Kench, and well, they just force some more summoners out.
They get 2 more, and it's good to see these teams being proactive with the tools they have. Ganks in mid, roams. They still have Fate's Call if Wolf is to overstep, so he has to play far back and still shoot to hit that level 6, as very clearly Tucson hit level 6 before him. At least when they have that, the chances of getting dove are diminished as the tankiness of your carry or yourself go through the roof.
Kuro still doesn't have his flash, but he does have Ghost. But you can see Blank lining up for that as Elise is just doing Krugs, but Kuro very, very safe.
It's just so hard to gank Victor when he went with CDR boots. So tier 2 as his first purchase. That means his flash is going to come up sooner, which is a smart pickup against the heavy engage that SKT have. And to top things off, with your laser, it becomes a breeze to just press E, clear the minion wave, sit back and relax him. The only window that SKT have of killing him is in a dive.
Basically just don't die. We'll see if Tushin can do exactly that. There's the Kidnap. Does have a lot of gray health, but there's the Polymorph with the Ignite from Wolf. And even with the Wild Growth, they cannot pick up the kill onto the tanky Tahm Kench.
The collapse from Afreeca was much sooner than what SKT can offer. Kramer can always move up, save Tucson with a Fate's Call, then you have Faker who is dealing with the minion wave, and Elise with mobility boost. So understandable for them to commit and then back off, although it is a Tahm Kench, so questionable choice, as you still have squishy targets that a kill would net a significantly higher gain than just killing a Tahm Kench, whose sole job later in the game is just to voyage people in and devour.
Looks like Blank was doing Ocean Drake by himself, as Wolf is nearby clearing out vision. But
yeah, that's a terrible choice.
Yeah.
Ocean is actually the toughest dragon for you to kill. And if you don't have high DPS as a jungler, you are not going to be taking it down anytime soon. So he gets punished, has to back off, and the punishment is that he's wasted some of his time. If he had an advantage, it's no longer there, and if he was at a disadvantage, then it gets even bigger.
Marin looking to proxy the wave here, trying to extend his lead in the top lane. Seems like he's been doing pretty well. He's not that far ahead, but definitely has a small lead.
There's a possibility in the bottom lane. They have to go in Tucson, though.
Okay, there's the Cataclysm, another forced flash from Untara, really respecting the Jarvan of Marin.
And the minion wave is what makes Untara's choice to flash easy to do. You can't trade back against Marin there when there's so many creeps that if you were to even try that, you have to deal with 7 minions attacking you at the same time. There's no chance of you winning that battle, so he flashes right away, make sure that he doesn't get chunked, and put himself in an opportunity to get dope.
We might have our first big advantage for one of these teams as Spirit, level 8 Elise, able to solo that Rift Herald, and Blank nowhere in position. He's doing this blue buff, trying to steal this away from the Victor once again. Can he get it? No! Actually, Kuro picks up the blue, so they can't even steal the blue. And look at this Rift Herald. Spirit about to pick it up.
Great distraction from Afreeca to go for the blue buff while they're doing the Herald. However, Kuro does pick it up, and this means that the Herald power will actually be diminished because you want to use it against Victor, the lane that you need to crack down, that mid lane turret as quickly as possible. But now that he has blue buff, the ability to spam the wave and keep himself relevant in this lane is going to be too much for lonely Herald to take it down.
Okay, we got another trade up here. Marin this time doesn't want to take it, even with the level up. Blue buff about to spawn here for Faker. Will make things a little bit easier for him against Rift Herald. And still no kill. Almost 15 minutes into the game.
Yeah, all right. It's happening. Team's just gonna go late into this one. Summoners are up all around.
Well, Smite's down for Blank.
Damn.
Okay, looking for something here onto Faker. He does have his flash still. There's the Abyssal Voyage too. Oh, and he gets the Cocoon. Spirit able to line that up. Showing up big this time on the Elise. Picks up first blood.
As soon as we let down, the game picks right back up, and that's going to be tier 1 going down to them. Here comes Herald taking down this objective. It's a 3-man push with only Lulu collapsing with a red buff here. There it is. Great Cocoon there from Spirit, and Faker just did not account for the mobility that Elise gets from those Moby boots. She wasn't hit, so the speed was still there, and an easy pickup leads to a big objective.
Yes, definitely massive there. Faker not even using his flash. Okay, we got a fight up here in the top lane, extremely close. Untara looks like he has the advantage, but the rest of the team of Afreeca able to rotate up into the top lane. There's that repel onto Untara. Spirit with another kill on his Elise.
Afreeca is turning up the heat now. They're going to aim for that tier 1 to the top side, and only an Ocean Dragon to answer for SKT. Blank is finally going to go for this objective, but it's already, the laning phase is over. The value of this dragon is not quite high. Here we go again on this replay. He's going to dodge downwards, but the Cocoon, flash, right on the edge. Great play from Spirit.
League of Legends can be a game of milliseconds at times. Inches.
Micro. Oh, I guess I forgot the unit. I don't know what the unit is in empirical. What's smaller than inches?
Inches?
Yeah. You have centimeters, meters, milliliter, or centimeters, milli-inches. That's why that system sucks.
No, it's not milli-inches. I think it's just like...
I have some ideas, but it's definitely not suitable for broadcast.
Micro-inches, perhaps. Okay. Going back onto Bang here. Kramer looking for this, and with the Callista, it's so hard to get away. Featherstorm not going to land, and there's the Ren. Bang, eating a ton of damage. Another trade going Afreeca's way.
Spirit in position for a counter gank, and so is Blank. They're looking for action on this map, but Blank has not been able to find anything.
Okay, we got not much happening there. Actually, both the summoners down right now for Kuro, whereas
Kuro topside.
Yeah, he was hanging around. It was so funny to see the difference between Kuro and Spirit in their reaction to kills. Spirit looked super happy, whereas Kuro was just stone face, just like Pawn.
Yeah, about time you ganked my lane. Jeez, I've been calling for help 24/7.
All those assistance pings in mid lane. I think the mid laners are just cold stone killers. Stone cold killers, rather. Faker himself, one of those. Okay, we have a collapse here onto Untara, who flashes, but the easy Cataclysm after gets the stun on Tamarin, and Spirit actually not able to get close enough to do any damage. And so Untara just gets away, has to blow his flash.
Poor layering of the CC there. Had he known Cataclysm was coming out sooner, I'm sure he would have waited onto the Cocoon. But Untara does walk away, only burning his flash for this, so not a big deal. Now Afreeca, they are 2,500 gold up, but their composition will only snowball around Dragon and Baron. There's a minute 20 on it. They can poise to go for that objective, but it would be too early, and I think it would create a window for SKT to abuse them, similar to Game 1, where they go inside the pit and get collapsed on, and once again, Blank going for the blue buff invade just has been so on top of this timer. This time around, it seems like everybody's ready for this.
And it's so funny to see how long he sticks around. Tushin almost able to gobble him up. Blue will go to Victor once again, so Blank failing a couple of times in a row here.
Still no lane swap from the top and bottom lane, so Baron still not being considered. There is an Infernal Dragon up next, however, so Afreeca with so many carries in their lineup, understandably preparing for the objective.
Just waiting around here. You can see all of Afreeca looking for some vision. Lots of pings down in that tri-brush.
They're looking for Wolf. If Wolf face checks this and they back off right away, they don't want to commit to this crazy play. If a collapse were to happen, it would have been disaster.
Bang, being whimsy, pushing forward. Both of the bottom lanes for these teams are 0-0-0.
Whew. Get my blood rush there.
We've seen multiple attempts for the junglers to come down and make some action happen, but...
Well, it's on the knife's edge. One lost fight at this stage would mean Baron easily. Both these teams can tank it and take it down in a matter of seconds, and as such, the advantages would be too much to handle. None of them have siege, so the pressure from the side lanes, if they 1-3-1, would result in what SKT did to Afreeca last game, where the Karma and Jarvan just cracked the base with one Baron push, and that's the last thing you want to see.
Okay, they're looking to trade a kill here onto Bang for that turret. Kuro is here too. And Kramer coming on in. They will give that kill over to Kuro, who is trying to chase after Rolf here with the help of Tushin. Meanwhile, SKT just pushing the mid lane, looking to get a second turret for this trade.
Good response there. At least they get the mid-tier one. This is what happens when Kuro leaves the lane to go for a gank.
Oh, a huge trade up in the top lane. So close, but Untara with the stun in the end picks up that kill.
And he ends up outplaying the former SKT member. Even though he's a little bit down in CS and has been ganked repeatedly, he still prevails in the one-on-one matchup with the completed Trinity Force, just making full use of that hook shot right at the end. But it looks like they're collapsing, and Spirit might get surprised here as there is...
Oh boy, okay, will not get knocked up, but has to use his flash.
He's got no business defending this. You're a Moby's Elise. Group up.
Group up, son. Saw Kuro making his way top two, but that's a third turret going over to SKT. Here's the trade.
See, this is exactly what happened in the previous time where Untara flashed out of the Cataclysm because there was minion advantage. This time around, Marin gets overconfident, goes on the trade where the minion advantage is in Untara's side, and they make a difference.
It's a long trade.
That game of inches does matter for every tiny little auto attack, and that might cost him the advantage in this split push matchup. And if he ends up losing pressure now, it's a window for SKT to crack open the base and start getting advantages somewhere on the map.
Afreeca easily able to take this Infernal Drake. No response from SKT.
They've got their eyes on Faker. They're playing it cool.
Faker with his own scanner. They got 3 of those on the side of SKT, just 2 on the side of Afreeca. Decide to go for 2 blue trinkets. Blue
trinket choice, always a wise one when you're dealing with Zach. vision denial is not going to do you a whole lot of justice there. Oh, Wolf.
Wolf. He gets away with that, actually. Little Lulu running through the forest.
Luckily, Spirit was in spider form, not in position to go for a cocoon, but the whimsy keeps him safe. Just so whimsical around the map with mobility boots and such speed. Still 4 kills in 24 minutes, so that's 6 kills per minute.
6 kills per minute.
No, 1 kill every 6 minutes.
What did we say about math earlier?
Yeah.
Huge burst damage onto Kuro. Tucson forced to eat him, and that's going to be a failed gank with 4 members up in top lane for Afreeca.
That shows how dangerous Faker is right now. No magic resistance from these mid laners. They're all damaged. So if they can end up hurting each other, they're likely capable of one-shotting every single one. But I'm going to go back on the math. It was correct, by the way. 24 divided by 6.
6 kills a minute.
Yeah. No, 1 kill every 6 minutes.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
The numbers were right. It was the statement that was incorrect.
So you got it there at the end. Another turret going SKT's way down in bot lane. As you can see the macro of SKT coming out in the end of it. Nice dodge there with the Whimsy. Really helping out against the Cocoon. Marin does have that Cataclysm. Doesn't decide to go onto Untara just yet.
Afreeca need to calm down and reset. Their attempt onto Faker really slowed them down, and that's what led Untara to be able to take that tier 2 into the bottom lane. They try once again to catch him out, but Faker finds a way to just push this top lane, farming off by himself. He's now sitting at a level advantage in 40 CS over Kuro, and that's going to keep him from being a monster in team fights. And if he's able to hit a shockwave on Kalista, Victor, or even Elise, this fight is sure to be won.
Look at how greedy Faker gets with that push, too. He knows the Abyssal Voyage is down. He knows that no one can really collapse, and they had enough vision and presence on the map to know exactly where Afreeca would be and how much damage they could get done onto a second tier 2 turret in the top lane.
Is that really greed if you have the knowledge?
I suppose not. Still a very close game, and Afreeca does have the better Drake for the end game.
Items are coming in hot now. Faker has yet to fight and make the most out of his Dark Seal. He sure loves the Dark Seal. I love the change that they did to it with Medjai is no longer just being your flat-out item. You have a reason to start off with the Dark Seal, and then you can decide, okay, how am I feeling this game? You know what? Yeah, I want to snowball like crazy. However, I do miss Leviathan. Do you remember Leviathan?
That was a long time ago.
So there were the 3 occult items, whereas the Sword of the Occult, Medjai, Soul Stealer, and Leviathan. So Medjai's would give you 15% or 10% cooldown reduction when you max it out.
Yeah.
Then you have Sword of the Occult, which at max it gives you AD, and at max tax it gives you movement speed. For some reason. It makes sense. People loved it.
Yeah.
And then the final one was Leviathan, which built off a Ruby Crystal, and they gave you 15% damage reduction when you capped it out.
That
so
sounds pretty fair.
If you ever play a troll game, you'd always go into normals and you buy all 3 and you try to, on a Kali, where you could make the most out of HP, damage reduction, movement speed, cooldown reduction, and those are the days.
I guess they got rid of Leviathan first.
Yes.
Okay.
No, I think it was Sword, actually. Both at the same time.
Is saved here by Kramer, his buddy. Yeah, I remember when they got rid of the Sword, I just forgot about the Leviathan.
Yeah, I think that one must have come in first. It was just too broken.
Untara now, after getting that extra gold overall, and uh-oh, Spirit caught out once again in the jungle, just roaming by himself. Kidnap is not going to be on time as a repel comes down, but a perfect shockwave from Faker will finish off that kill. Now Tucson on the run. No Fate's calling this time around, but will get away. Bang, trying to go deep against Kuro, taking a bit of damage himself, but will survive. Trading back and forth. Here's Blank, tanking up that turret, and that will be enough to take him out. So 2 kills going over the side of SKT, and Marin can't seem to deal with this Camille in the bot lane.
Well, he keeps poised to look for a collapse, but Camille is so strong after winning that 1v1. And SKT respond with a Baron right away. What's Afreeca going to do about this? They have Marin capable of teleporting in if they need it. Faker does have his flash, so I think SKT is strong enough to turn if they want.
Yeah, the members of SKT are pretty low, but at the same time, Afreeca decides to go on to the Camille.
They just have no vision.
Yeah, they can't go to the Baron, so they decide to go for this, but with the hook shot, oh man, the flash coming out from Marin, missing Intara, and they don't get the kill either.
I think he's been tilted off that 1v1 loss. It was so close, and that would have dictated the entire pace of this top lane matchup, which now is playing into the hands of SKT beautifully. Camille can deal with Jarvan under turret. She now is looking for a Guardian. Angel has a Hydra completed, Trinity Force, and we're going to take another look here at Spirit getting cut out. Unfortunate for him to be the undoing of Afreeca, but SKT punish it right away, and while the kidnap misses, the shockwave is on point, and Tucson commits to the flash. That forces the Fates call to save him. They can now engage with comfort onto Kuro, who thinks he's in safety under the turret, but you always have to account for Zach, who we still have yet to see his passive pop.
Yeah, he's been alive the entire game. Not broken up into little jelly pieces yet. Sitting at 1-0-1 is Blank on the Zac. Perhaps not as flashy as the Lee Sin, but definitely has a big part in this game.
And it's just, it's disheartening, it's heart-wrenching. You love them, but you hate them for it. Why does Afreeca do this to us all the time? Game 1, they come out swinging, but they just drop the ball in draft in a couple of moments. Then game 3, it just looks all over the place. Here comes an engage onto Faker, it seems, and he just walks away to the right.
Yeah, we even have a TP from Marin. They want to collapse hardcore. No TP from Intara just yet. They have a lot of wards that he could TP to. Trying to get onto Marin here is Blank. There's the TP in from Intara. Will cancel it. And so Marin decides, oh, I'm going to turn around again, but he actually eats a chunk, and the engage doesn't work. They're going to lose another turret here in the top lane.
Baited and outplayed. SKT gets the engage from Afreeca. It doesn't go to anything, and they cancel out the teleport. So now Intara is able to pick up the inhibitor into the top side.
Looks like he will have to back away, but still, that is a very low inhibitor, and SKT has another really strong push into the bot lane. Afreeca just being torn apart, and you said the T word, you said tilt. It's looking a little bit like it. It's lack of consistency, and it seems like they've just fallen apart into the mid game, and SKT just doing SKT things.
2 inhibitors going down, and I have to think that the big turning point for this game was when they went for the Abyssal Voyage dive onto the bottom side, where Kuro left the mid lane and lost control, and once that mid lane turret went down, it was all over.
Yeah, Blank coming on in, gonna smack 2 heads together. Kidnap doesn't get anyone, but Tushin popping out, it looks like. Going to be dropped down here is extremely tanky. Marin trying to lock them in turret range. It's not going to work. Bang with a triple kill on the back of it. Faker picking up 1 for himself. And finally we see that Zac passive come through as SKT looking to end this one.
They're the ultimate Cinderella story every time. Pumpkin at midnight. You want to love them.
You want to love them. They looked so good in game 1, but not going to happen. Another kill comes down, and the death timers are too long. That's going to be game number 3 going to SKT, who get another 2-1 victory.
And Blank remains undefeated. Still the kingpin of SKT. Somehow, bring him in. He'll turn us around. And Captain Blank, look at him, stoic.
Captain Blank.
Can't believe they need me for this.
It's no longer Faker.
I'm not the starter, and this is what you have me do?
When will he be the starter? 13-0.
But you can't put him as a starter. You need a failure or a mixed game in the beginning for him to make sense to come in after. Otherwise,
definitely
it takes away from the charm.
A failure is not one of the nicknames I would give to Peanut.
Well,
I know what you're trying to say. I know what you're trying to say.
For the standards, right? The higher you
yeah.
hold your standard, the more opportunities you have to consider things a failure.
Very true. That game of Lee Sin in the beginning was not so good, not so clean. And you definitely say the same about the last half of that game for Afreeca. They kept things together, and they actually got a lead up until more than halfway through that game. And then all of a sudden, a couple of failed ganks, and everything falls apart. Like a house of cards. Someone blew one card over, and everything just fell. It's so crazy to see.
Yeah, this is great from them. The beautiful flashy Coon just barely clipped Faker, and we were thinking, are they going to do it? Then they rotated top right here. They're able to pick up Untara on this roam from the mid lane and jungle, and we were thinking, oh wow, could Afreeca really be breaking the curse? But no. The answer was no. This was the one that really did it for them. The attempt onto Blank, which only nets you a kill, but as a result, the response from SKT was to take down that mid lane turret, and your job as Victor is to stall that out as long as possible. And here's where Marin goes crazy.
Exactly. It's not just mid turret. I mean, Bang picked up bottom lane turret. The SKT gets mid, and then this top loss, and they lose the top turret. That's 3 turrets in a row that went to SKT. That was really the beginning of the end.
They're so close, but yet so far. But SKT still showing composure more than anything after games and failed attempts, and oh, we're gonna slow it down. You gotta see that tongue in slow motion.
That's what everybody wants to see. So SKT, they do it at the end of it all. Game 1 was kind of scary for a lot of SKT fans, but then once Blank came in, the guy who just can't seem to lose, things did turn around for SKT.
And great teamwork, and we never got to see the beloved wombo combo that you could imagine between Zac and Orianna. Hell, even the kidnaps are actually awful, but it's just the play that SKT does. The champions never truly matter. It's the way they pressure, it's the way they play the rotations out and play as a team, and as such, they walk away victorious over the Freecs, who lack composure for game 2 and 3.
And shout out to Untara too, coming in with Blank, able to... Game 2 was kind of even, had a little bit of trouble against Marin, but then did go toe-to-toe with him in the top lane, won the solo kill battle, and he was part of the reason why that huge snowball started for SKT.
You know, I'd love to hear the late night conversations between Blank and Untara, what they talk about sharing over some KBBQ and soju.
The 2 subs. But either way, guys, we're going to go into our interview right now.
So here we have Blank for the interview for the MVP set 1. So you're the one who got the most MVP points in SK Telecom T1. Every time you play, you always get the MVP points. How do you feel about it? Well, junglers, performance, defense on the liners, so yeah, I think all my teammates for me to be the better player. And also, I agree that I performed quite well. And we all just performed well and had great synergy. So Zac is your champion, and you also got your champion's skin. So how do you like it? I really like it. The qualities are great. I really want to thank all the Riot people for making me such a great skin. And also the skin is really good, so I really appreciate everybody if they purchase it for me. Did you see the clip of me mimicking the Zac? It was on the previous show, so keep your eyes on it, please. Thank you. You made great kills in the bottom lane when you're defending the inner turret. You killed the minion, and then you kicked Kuro and made a kill. Were you sure that it was gonna be a kill? Yeah, I had my flash and I ult, so the combo went really well, so it worked out quite well. How would you like to call it, blank kick or the Katgu kick? So I prefer the Katgu kick. So who do you think should be the next MVP for today's game? Everyone performed really well, but our top laner Untara did really well. So, And overall, all my teammates were great, but I think maybe Untara will be the next MVP.
So now we're going to check out who was the MVP of game number 2. And it was Untara.
Yep, there he was. That was solo kill on Tamarin. Made a world of difference in the pressure bottom side.
And that means we will be hearing from Untara on the interview as well. The stats there on the left don't really tell the whole story, but let's hear from him now.
So congratulations, Untara. How do you feel about being the MVP? I feel really well being the MVP and also from the victory of the game. What made you think that Untara will be the MVP? I thought top laners had a hard time during this match, but he did really well. So that's how we won the game, so he should be the MVP. How would you like to rate your performance of today? Out of 180. What are the 20 points that you feel like missing? I think I should get rid of more mistakes in the laning phase. But you made solo kill versus Marin. It was really close, but were you confident? I wasn't sure that I was gonna win, but in the late games, Camille is kind of better than Zarvan, so yeah, I think I was kind of lucky. Any compliment for Untara? You did really well, and let's do better next time. Yeah, let's cheer up. And Blank has, why you're copying me, and so he said he's just gonna ignore it. And your next opponent is Jinair. How are you gonna prepare it? Jinair is in a really good form right now, so we have to be aware a lot, and we're gonna prepare really a lot. As I said, yeah, I should be some better improvement on my laning phase. Any words for your fans? I will try harder to show consistent forms, and thank you for the energy. Thank you for all the love and support. I really want to thank you a lot. And this is the end of the interview. Thank you for listening.
So there you have it, guys. Thanks, Jisun, for that translation. And, well, things kind of are the way we would have expected them, I suppose. SKT up top, taking the win over Afreeca, and Afreeca somewhat disappointing us once again.
But they still give us that glimmer of hope. In that game 1, this team, I want to hope that they can fix their act together by the end of the split. It's plenty of time, and if they can do so, then we actually have a pretty stacked top half of the LCK. So both these teams still with their woes, and you can hear Blank and Untara talk about their performance, and I love the fact that they think, you know what, we could have done better. We can always do better. And when you're in a position when you have such great players on SKT, it's the best motivation for you to be a sub and always have to push yourself harder to get the spotlight.
Yeah, kind of cool to see the 2 subs coming in for Afreeca, or yeah, for SKT. Even with a lineup as deep as theirs, still having both of them on the MVP interview is pretty cool. And yeah, that was a pretty long one. We went all the way until 8 p.m. with 3 pretty long games. Afreeca, they came close to defeating the best team in the world, but weren't able to do it.
The day you almost caught Jack Sparrow, which now is Blank, still uncatchable and undefeated. I think it's 13 games now in 2017.
Yep, 13-0.
Oh,
so
what a god.
We'll see if he can continue with that streak. But, guys, we are going to go to about a 30-minute break. When we do come back, we will have Samsung versus Ever8. Stay tuned.